Namaskar. I, Manoshi Chatterjee, on behalf of the board and members of Raag-Mala Music Society of Toronto, welcome you all to yet another episode of the series, Sowing the Seeds of Raag Sangeet in Canada. This program is presented in collaboration with the Indian Consulate in Toronto as a part of the ongoing celebration of the 75th anniversary of India's independence. In today's episode, I will be conversing with an internationally renowned Sarangi player, one of the leading exponents of Sarangi of his generation, Sri Pankaj Mishra ji, and his disciples, Geet Mishra and George Koller. As we begin our musical journey with the master and his disciples, I would like to welcome Pankaj ji to our studios. Namaskar, Pankaj ji. Very welcome to this very special episode where we are not just going to talk about your musical journey, but also about Sarangi and the Guru Shishya tradition. So,
Thank you. Thanks. First of all, I'm going to thank to Raag-Mala for having me here for this unique project, and then in collaboration with CGI, Consul General of India. Thanks, and I'm happy that we are in 75th independence year, so I'm very excited for that. Thanks to all of you. Thanks for inviting me.
thank you for being here. Pankaj ji, my question is first, Sarangi is considered quite a difficult instrument. It's a very unique instrument as well. So just why Sarangi? Why did you choose Sarangi, and when did your musical journey begin?
Yeah, you are right that Sarangi is a really difficult instrument. Actually, for me, in my eyes, all the instruments are difficult. Everything is
For
difficult
every dancer, yeah.
because I play Sarangi. It's easier for me now, but
Right.
I cannot play Esraj, or I cannot play Sarod, I cannot play sitar. Those are difficult for me. But yeah, all like aspect, if you see about the Sarangi, it is difficult because it's playing from the opposite side of finger.
Oh, is that right?
Okay, so knuckle part of the finger. So this is, I think, the uniqueness of this instrument. And fretless, obviously, same as like violin, sarod. We have,
Yeah.
but even this is little much heavier than violin. Much heavier places, like a big place. So yeah, it's in that case we have to our ear. First we learn from our Guruji that make your ears first.
Yeah,
When you
sense
make
of-
the sense of the sur, sense of the notes,
Right.
then you can play the instrument. Yeah, and yeah, I chose Sarangi not obviously not from me. It is by my mom.
Uh-huh.
Actually, earlier in my young age, I start tabla for I think 3-4 months. I played, and then suddenly I broke my hand.
Oh, okay.
So then my doctor said, don't play tabla because it need more power. But so then my mom said, play sarangi because it is your heritage instrument. Because my grandfather,
Okay.
great grandfather, they were like a sarangi virtuoso.
Okay.
And for you all viewers, I just tell that my great grandfather was a guru of Girija Devi ji, Padma Vibhushan Girija Devi ji. So, and she learned from my great grandfather and my grandfather also, like a brother of my grandfather, Shri Satya Mishra. So my great grandfather name is Pandit Saraju Prasad Mishra.
All right, that's amazing. So you started from when you were a child, you started learning Sarangi, or was it later in life that you?
Yeah, I started learning Sarangi, I think, when I was 10 or little 10, 10 plus kind of, because this is, to be honest, it's very tough instrument. Even when I was 10, I started Sarangi, it's really painful. And blood comes, so it's not very early age instrument actually, not 5, 6 years old. So before that we all know a little bit of vocal music.
Right.
So
For the sense of
for the
music
sense of
with
notes
sound.
and swords.
So when you went to your guru, who was your uncle, I guess.
Yes.
Did you actually follow the Guru Shishya tradition or the Guru Shishya Parampara, living with him, staying with him, and learning music, or was it different?
Not really. Actually, I was in Kolkata. I born in Kolkata, and then the heart of the city. I went where I live, and even my Guruji, my uncle, not direct uncle. He's like a Mishra family. You know, like we have a huge family.
Right.
So he lived, I think, just 10 minutes walking from my house.
Okay.
So before I learned from him, they came to our house, we went to their house regularly. Even though that time I didn't know that I'm going to learn Sarangi from him. But my mom insisted me to learn Sarangi, and she asked to my uncle that, would you mind to teach my son? He was actually the top graded Sarangi player in Kolkata, Pandit Mahesh Prasad Mishra, and he worked in the All India Radio as a full-time.
Okay. So you learned in India, you played for a long time in India, and you're an internationally known Sarangi player now. Now you're in Toronto. You have moved to Toronto.
Yes.
And what made you move to Toronto?
Actually, my journey, like a touring journey, starts very early, like late 90s. Okay, so then first I went to Japan,
Okay.
and regularly every year, say like almost 10 years, I went there in a month, 1.5 months, 2 months per year. And then beside Japan, I start my touring to Europe. So Germany was my next destination. And then me and my 2 friends, we made a school there in Germany. So regularly been there. So Europe and Japan in the year, some here and there, here and there. But then in 2010, I came to Canada first, my first North American tour. So I came with Vidushi Chaudharyji. We had a show in Edmonton. So she asked me, Pankaj, would you like to go to Edmonton? I said, 100%, why not? And it's a pleasure always play with great artists, right? So I came to Canada. I had show in Toronto, I had show in Montreal, I had show in Edmonton. So then from here I went to Europe again. My normal tour starts. So when I came to North America, it's a different feeling for me. Amazing feeling. It's a huge, everything bigger, like in the sense of India or
Right, of
Japan.
course, of
Okay,
course, yeah.
so then when I came to USA, from there every time I had show in Canada. So always like cover US and Canada at a time. So but when I came to Canada, it's really amazing feeling. And since then, like continuing playing here in North America, everywhere, like most major cities of USA and Canada. So then I thought, okay, it's too much to traveling alone. So why not I bring my family. So then I applied for PR in Canada, and you can't imagine within less than a year, I think 8-9 months,
Yes.
they approved my PR.
And Toronto is so lucky to have you here.
I'm lucky too. It's an amazing country, amazing culturally, especially. I toured a lot of places in the world, but Toronto especially, it's very versatile country.
Yes, as an immigrant, I can also say that, yes, it's such a welcoming country, Canada, of course. So you taught in India.
Yes.
And you, of course, teach many people around the world, actually. So in Toronto as well, now you are teaching.
Yes.
So my question is, how is it different when you teach Indian disciples who have the culture already, who have been probably who are growing up with, the Indian music, maybe in their families or around them, but here when they don't have it so much and you're still teaching, so how is it different?
Obviously, there is some differences out there because in India, from our childhood, we know Saregama. We used to listen concerts, and then it's already there in the body, in soul. But outside of India, because I have a student in Europe, and I have a student in USA, I have a student in Canada. So, but I'm very fortunate and very thanks to God that whoever came to learn from me, they are so good in the sense of music I'm talking about. Mostly, I can say at least 60 to 70% of my students, they already know some other
Basic
instruments, or
Right.
they are into this in this music, and they came when they came to my show or any other shows. They saw, okay, it's like a Sarangi is available here, so why not we learn? So it's in the one sense it's easier for me that at least they have some sense of notes, which is the biggest part of our music.
Right.
And so then I slowly start to teach them, and then it takes a little time, obviously, than our Indian mentality and then here. But the biggest thing also that they're so much dedicated to the music. And then when they come to learn to me, before this pandemic, they came to in person, or maybe wherever I am in the cities. So they came, and then but after that in online, but they use the time, and whatever I teach, they just try to understand and practice in home.
Yes, dedication is the key anyway.
Exactly.
When we were talking about Sarangi, we said that it is a difficult instrument, it's not that easy immediately, and it's a unique instrument, as we say. Could you please show us the instrument a little bit to our viewers and us as well, and
Sure.
play something on it?
Sure, why not? So, first of all, I'll just give some introduction of the instrument, which is like Sarangi.
Right?
The name is already, for the Indian, we know like Sarangi.
Okay.
The name comes from Sarangi, 100 color.
Okay.
So, Sa is 100, Rangi is color. So, 100 color instrument. And this is like a one most closest instrument of human voice.
Really?
Like almost copy to vocal.
Wow.
This is totally vocal instrument. So and the good thing of this instrument, kind of same as like tabla, percussion, that this instrument goes with many things like khayal, style, drupad style, thumri, ghazal style, solo, with Kathak dance, with tabla solo, nagma, and even in the Western also we collaborate with jazz music. Like a few months back, I played in a spy music in Canada.
Oh, nice.
So George actually invited me to play there, and I played. So it's I told George that all the students even that it's very collaborating instrument actually. So this instrument has 3 main strings which are made by gut, and between 36 to 40 sympathetic strings. And this is one wood instrument, no joint at all anywhere. And wood name is cedar, and in Hindi we call it tun. Okay, so here is some sound of this instrument.
Beautiful. It was so beautiful. And the way you played, it's just amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have here your disciples, Geet, who is your daughter as well,
Yes.
and George, who has been learning from you now. So, Geet, when did you start learning from your father?
So, I started learning Sarangi in the middle of 2020.
So it's not that long back.
Yeah,
eh?
it's not that long.
And how did it start? Why did you decide to learn Sarangi?
Because, in the pandemic,
During the pandemic, yeah?
yeah, people were really closed in their houses. Like they couldn't go outside and they were in some kind of depressions and all.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to learn Sarangi, so for a good feel.
Of
really.
course, yes. And you have your father there, who is an amazing Sarangi player. So why not take that opportunity, right? So, however, did you learn anything else before starting Sarangi? Were into music?
Yes.
You were,
so,
right?
yeah, I started to learn some vocals
Mm-hmm.
before doing Sarangi, and then I started playing santoor.
Oh, you did santoor as well.
Yes.
Santoor is a string instrument, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Mhm. So do you think that the musical background that you had before, you were playing other music, other instruments as well, so did it help you?
Yes, it helped me a lot because the basics of the vocal is Sa-re-ga-ma-pa-da-ni-sa,
Right.
and it's the same for Sarangi.
Mm-hmm.
So it helped me a lot to catch the notes from here, and it helped me catch the sense of the taal.
Right. Yes. So, Geet, would you like to play something on Sarangi, huh?
Sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. Pankaj, you teach, of course, Indian disciples, but I know that you have many, but you also teach, as I said before, um, in USA, you have
Yeah.
disciples, you have disciples in Canada, of course, and George Koller is one of your disciples. Hello, George.
Hello, nice to see you.
So, welcome to our studios. And George, you are a bassist, a producer, a composer. You play a variety of instruments. And you are a big promoter of jazz, right? So, why jazz?
Why jazz? Oh, I love all kinds of music. I think jazz became my most favorite art form over the years when I realized that it was the one branch of music where improvisation
Right.
and creativity and the now moment, what you're feeling now, is more important than something that was written, maybe 300 years ago. But I love all music, for sure. And I've been a supporter of East and West collaboration for
That's right.
so many years, yeah.
So, you are learning from Pankaj, the Sarangi. Did you do any other instrument, any other Indian instrument before?
Yes, in fact, when I grew up in Edmonton, around 1975, I met a teacher, Chandrakant Kapileshwari, taught me some vocal music, and he had a sitar, and I bought the sitar. And at this time, I'm of course listening to Ravi Shankar very much,
Okay.
and some of the collaborations that are starting in the world, like Shakti, all the John McLaughlin and all the people that are trying to make connection between South Indian and North Indian and jazz and classical music, yeah.
And then why did you choose Sarangi now?
Well, I've been playing Dilruba for a long time
Right.
because it's fretted, right, and has similar to the sitar. So, and I play the bass, which is my main instrument. And I remember back in 1981, a scholar of the Sarangi, Regula Qureshi, who lives in Edmonton, she lent me one just to try. And at that time, I didn't know the technique, but I fell in love with it, I think, even back then. But then I moved here,
Right.
lost track of the Sarangi a little bit, but of course, I'm playing music all the time. And then during the pandemic, Pankaj arrives with his family, and we became instant friends very quickly. Yeah, it was such a surprise. All of a sudden, you're here, and everything is locked down.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, what a perfect way to spend, 2-3 hours a day during lockdown
Right.
with something, because we have nowhere to go.
So you were doing it online with him
Initially,
initially?
and of course, practicing at home.
Right.
Well, you can't go out, so I thought, wow, it's a very meditative
Right.
instrument, like many of the instruments are. So it can be very good for solitary confinement to make you allow your emotions to come out, allow your creativity to come out, and to calm you, or challenge you. I would work on something over and over and over again, and then the achievement of getting it to the next level was so
Right.
satisfying.
So,
Yeah.
but you're so busy with other things as well, musically, I
Yeah.
know. So how do you find time to practice for Sarangi or?
I just make the time. I make the time because
That's
I want to
such a-
keep growing. Even though I'm at this chapter in my life, wow, I can play till I'm 95. I don't care.
I can add something on
Yes.
that, this
Yes.
question. Whenever he comes, after, I think since September, we did like in-person classes. So whenever, even in online or after that, whenever I see him, he came for classes, I'm very much happy and satisfied with his practice. So it means that he really takes time for Sarangi. He have the
That
time.
dedication is
Yeah.
so important for
Exactly.
any disciple. Music is an ongoing journey, right?
Yes,
It's a
and I
very
realize how difficult the instrument
It
is,
is.
and so even every little level up feels like you've really accomplished something. That's good for your whole state of your well-being. Yes.
So what has been your most rewarding of study of ICM and Indian classical music?
Oh, Indian classical music in general. Good. I was thinking about that question today, and I was thinking, well, whether you're studying jazz or Western classical music or Indian classical music, you can go in so deep. It can take you forever, right?
Right.
A whole lifetime or maybe many lifetimes. So, but I love the fact that I've always wanted to see some bridge between the two cultures in my mind, at least in my mind. See what is similar, what is different. Also, I witnessed in my life the gradual merging of East and West from the internet and all these amazing leaders like Ravi Shankar and many others that took it to showing us, pointing towards the future, where Western and Eastern musicians collaborate. So for me, Indian classical music is also a separate pure art form that's been like that for so many years, and I'm very impressed with. I want to be able to have those feelings. I want to be able to feel what those nuances are, those flavors, those colors. I want to be able to see what the geometry. I find it very geometric. The rhythms, the tabla rhythms. It's very like nature. And here's the big thing. I think that I'm experiencing cycles. Whereas we're not really experiencing cycles like this in Western music. We have different types of geometry and architecture, but not like Indian music. And so I don't know how deep it is, I don't know how old it is, but you sometimes get the feeling that it's so old that it's even older than you think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I have grown up with this kind of music, and I feel it has some kind of divinity in it, that divine feeling.
Yes.
I personally feel that way. So amazing for y'all of you to be here. I would definitely want to see, and I'm sure our viewers would also want to see, how does a lesson go?
Mm.
So if you could demonstrate something like Pankaj ji teaching his disciples, and how do you do this? That would be amazing.
That is secret.
Please spill the secret. We would love.
So yeah, actually, whenever, especially I love always, as I said earlier, that even I really don't like online thing, to be honest.
Yes, it doesn't give that
Yeah,
personal-
exactly. You don't get that feeling. So even I teach, because in different cities, I have students like California,
Right.
Toronto, or New York, or Dallas, or it's difficult to be at one every time all together, right? So we have to, unfortunately, we have to do online thing. But I always love in person. Even since last few months, my few students from USA, they came after this everything open. They came for the in-person classes. And George, I think every 1 or 2 week he came to me, and Geet is there. So obviously we have in-person plans. So once I meet with my students, excuse me, I always do palta first. Like first at least 10-15 minutes, half an hour, we do palta practice, because that is the base of our music.
Yes, even in vocal, first
Yeah.
we start with palta.
Exactly, the foundation
Practicing
of
palta.
music. So,
Of course.
and as I said, that instrument, because this is a fretless instrument, playing from here, so you never know. And then this is one of the very touchy instrument that within a fraction of weather changes, it change.
Okay.
So every time
The
it
tuning,
changes.
you have
The
to do the
tuning.
tuning
So.
all the time.
So even sometime with me or all other Sarangi players, everyone has same problem, that even on the stage we are performing for a long time, and then suddenly it's got little heat, like hot, right, in the
Mhm.
auditorium
Yeah,
with the
because of the
people
lights.
and light, and then people, then it goes up or down, and then we had to adjust with that. So sometimes like millimeters change up and down, like guys here, sometimes go up, then we had to go. That's why I said we have to
Years.
think about our ears first, okay? So always sing your instrument. Express.
First, it's really important that everybody is in tune and everything.
And same tune. I tell to my students, very first thing, you can kill the audience with two things. Either playing in sur or either playing besur. So try to kill them in sur, don't besur. Okay. So, but it's really hard instrument, and it's difficult to first. Even when I start, my Guruji told me to keep the bow balancing. Because normally what happened, the bow up will go down here with all the musicians, all the players. So we have to learn in one spot, never going to be up and down. So that is our first basic. So let's start with the bow balancing first. In one spot. Second string. See, things change. I think we have last we have Kirwani, right? Sure. Let's do Kirwani Palta. First, Saregama. First time. way, and this is like 2-3 paltas I said, but one palta goes 50 times, 20 times, 30 times.
And there are some complicated paltas.
Oh yeah,
usually,
sa
right?
re ga ma re ga pa, like so many. Like we have thousands of paltas. So whatever comes in mind, they just follow, and which I love so much. Even I told all my students, whenever till today, whenever I practice, first few minutes, half an hour, I just practice palta.
Thank you so much, Pankaj, for saying this, because really nowadays it is the shortcut method, right? Which we shouldn't be following actually, and there is no shortcut to
Unfortunately
music.
for music, no
there's no
shortcuts.
So go with paltas, have patience, and practice paltas all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And what other lessons would you have for our viewers and us and everybody?
Yeah, then after this, it's depend on what raga we are working on, because someone have this rag, someone that rag, someone that rag. So as we know that we have a solo. Like normally when I teach them solo, not the accompaniment. So solo for part we do first alap.
Right.
So I teach them first alap, how to do
Establish the raga.
Establish the rag. Then goes to jod,
Right.
which is like faster part of alap without rhythm. Then goes to compositions. It depends on what tala is. Can be vilambit ek tal, vilambit teen tal, vilambit chap tal, rupak. Then faster and drut, like madhya drut. So this is the way.
So Pankaj, I know that, well, it can take years or it can take a few months just to learn a raga. Well, you cannot learn a raga completely ever. However, what do you think, how much time will a disciple who is learning from you may take to complete a raga, completely learn a raga?
To be honest, as you already mentioned that there is no time limit,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Till full life we learn one raga.
Rag Yaman can be learned
Yeah,
for the whole
so
life, right?
can when I learn, I think I learned Raag Yaman. I think a year and a half, kind of, not different rag, because my Guruji, when I went, as I said, I went like 2-3 days in a week, or sometimes just whenever I feel, just go there. So and it's not mandatory that every time I open my Sarangi even.
Right.
Because that is the way how we learn, that just go to Guruji's house, if he feel to teach or play sarangi, he says okay, open your sarangi, but sometime no, just talk. And that is a part of our learning process, like talking about sometime like okay, this rag sang by this artist or played by this artist, how they the approach, because Raag Yaman, as you know, like thousands of millions of artists, they sang and play, but everyone is different, right? So that is the vast of the Indian classical music, like how big it is. Okay, so it's impossible to learn in one life, even in one raga. So, but now everything is very squeezed, and everyone's time is very short and then limited. And some students, in fact, they want to learn very quickly. So we have to go with that also. The flow, we have to bring. But yeah, at least a raga to understand, it takes at least 5-6 months minimum. But as you know, sarangi is like a mostly accompanying instrument, right? As I said, that it goes solo, dance, vocal. So it's a good thing for us when we accompany with different vocalists. So what I learned, like Banaras Gharana, I learned one raga, how we do. But when I play with Patiala Gharana artist, when we play with Agra Gharana artist, Gwalior Gharana artist, so they have different approaches. And the biggest challenge for us, that we have to play like them, right? I cannot be stick with my Gharana, my own style. I have to, because I'm accompanying him or her. So that is the next chapter of our learning. So I told all my students, once you know the instrument, once your hands are at least understand, okay, this is this, this is this. So then go to practice with the singers, because that is the most difficult part of ours. That like a Sarangi is like an X-ray machine of human voice, any singer, right? Whatever he or she sings, we have to play.
Right.
Same thing, as close as we can. So that's why I learned even raga even till yesterday when I played with someone else. Same raga I played 20 years, but different thing. Some different point comes. So it's impossible to tell how long it takes. But also it's depend on the student's mind, how fast,
And how dedicated they
yeah,
are.
how dedicated that. So
Yes, of course. But basically, patience and perseverance is the key.
So classical, that's why the name is classical. You know, the name, the answer is in the name. So classical music, it's classic is there. So classic, if you need anything classic, you have to show your patience.
To end this show, if we can have something together.
Okay.
So 16-beat composition in Kirwani. Beautiful. Thank you so much all of you for being here, Pankaj Chatterjee. Thank you so much, George. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone, and thanks to Raag-Mala once again and CGI, and thanks to you, Manoshi.
Thank you. And with this, we come to the end of this episode of Sowing the Seeds of Raag Sangeet in Canada. Thank you very much for watching and hope to see you very soon with another episode of the series. Namaskar.